about the opportunity for me to be a head coach, but for us to be at Montana State and move to Bozeman and enjoy this tremendous community. And I couldn't thank President Cruzado, Leon, the search committee, everybody involved with sharing with me their vision and ultimately coming to the conclusion to name me the head coach of this great football program at this fine institution. And this place, it made a big impact on me when we came out here at North Dakota State in 2010. Just a tremendous support that this program has, the fan support, the growing enrollment here, the growth in Bozeman are all things that really excite me. Had a chance to meet with the players yesterday, and there's a real hungry group. A group that's been through a lot in the last 11 months, and they were the priority. I got right back up here I was here on Sunday, got right back up here yesterday because, getting with them and forging our path ahead as the 2021 Bobcats was mission one, and we're on track there, and look forward to, the days, the weeks, the months ahead. So with that, I'll open up to questions, but like I said, couldn't be more happy to be here.
Thanks, Coach. Ashley, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. Welcome to Bozeman. I work on the sports reporter at KBZK. You had talked about, finally you touched down in Bozeman yesterday. You got to meet with your players for the first time, and you mentioned your vision of taking this program to new heights in that video that was on social media, specifically a national championship. So can you just expand on, I know you've only been in Bozeman for not even 48 hours yet, but your plan on going forward of eventually getting to that national championship, which you definitely have experience in getting?
Well, I think, to attain something, you got to be able to see it. And that's why I wanted to, spell that out day one. Now, are we going to talk about a national championship every day? I think that would be crazy. But as a starting point, to have that as a clear vision of something that you can't attain something unless you see it, unless it's there in your thoughts. We still got to work on a daily basis at getting better each day. Daily improvement is going to be the foundation of it. But having that is a clear vision is what I want our guys to see. And I know they've recently had some real success, playoff runs to the quarters and the semis and progress for sure. This is not a situation that, this is not a reclamation project by any stretch of the imagination. There's a lot of ability here. There's a hunger, and now it's about putting together the plan. So, come 2021, we can put ourselves in the best position to reach those heights.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach. Welcome to Bozeman.
Thank you.
Let's go next to Coulter Nuanez. Go ahead, Coulter.
There I am, unmuted. Hi, Brent. Nice to meet you. I run Skyline Sports. We cover the whole Big Sky Conference. Also have a statewide radio show. I look forward to talking with you more. There's been a lot of guys from North Dakota State that have gone on to different jobs, but there hasn't, at least to my knowledge, since this run has been going, somebody that's gone on to be the head coach of another FCS school. What do you think of just the ability to compare and contrast maybe the success you had at NDSU and then implement some of those things, but also just have a fresh start and run your own program that's maybe not from the same coaching tree or the same program that you had in Fargo?
Well, yeah, I think you're right on that. I know guys have gone on a lot of different places and been fortunate the last two decades to work with a lot of great coaches that have had a big impact on me. Obviously Coach Bohl being the top of that list. And the luxury I had through all that time, I was there firsthand to be part of it, but to see how it was done from a leadership perspective, see the things that we did and implemented, really through that phase of moving to the FCS level, starting in 2004 to joining the Missouri Valley and 2008 to ultimately the heights that we achieved in 11, 12, and 13. And recognize that there's a few programs across the country that have the tools in place, and felt like Montana State was one of those programs. And having an opportunity to take all the things that I learned at North Dakota State and then couple that with our experience at Wyoming, coaching at the FBS level, coaching in this region, recruiting a different area, recruiting the West. Those are all things, lessons that I've learned, and different place, but same mentality for us as a staff. So you have to adapt that mentality to the place, and I'm learning on the fly here what those things mean, but I think I have a good understanding of what the FCS level is all about, and I have a real good belief that Montana State is one of those. We're one of those institutions that should be in the mix, and if we do things right, that's where we hope to be.
Let's go next to Eric Peterson. Go ahead, Eric.
Hey, Coach, just kind of piggybacking on that, what made Montana State the right head job at the right time for you? And then on top of that, what are the differences going to be now that you're a head coach as opposed to a coordinator and assistant?
Well, I appreciate that, Eric. Haven't seen you in a while, so it's a good look for you. No, you know what? Right time, right place. I think those two things came together. I think through the last 7 years, there's been opportunities that have been presented, and I haven't really gone headlong into any one of them, but different situations across the landscape in FCS, and whether it was me maybe not feeling like the time was right, or that maybe the place wasn't, that those two things never came together. But when Coach Choate was up for the Boise job, at the beginning of January, I started to think, okay, if that thing opens up, that'd be one I'd want to go after. The game back in 2010 when we played here in the playoffs at NDSU that was an impactful memory, of a crowd and electricity that day that a lot of places across the country doesn't have that support, and that stayed with me for sure. And through that run, Montana State was right there. We played them in 10, and I think 11 and 12. There was maybe a game or two away in the playoffs. So you knew the quality of program at that time, the ability to get players here was there. And Coach Ash did a great job. Coach Choate did a great job in getting it to a real sustained success level most recently. And getting out into the West, I guess, and living in Laramie and living in Wyoming the last 7 years, our family has really grown to appreciate this part of the country. And while I'd only been in Bozeman twice, it was 2 games, one in 2005 and 2010. I had a pretty good sense that as a family, this would be a great place for us to, continue to live our life and raise our kids and really enjoy all that this area has meant to us over the last 7 years. And, so we're moving a little bit north, but we're, Eric, believe it or not, as a Red River Valley boy, I've become a mountain guy. So anyways, yeah, a lot of things came into play, and, I think all the steps in my progression, going back the last 2 decades, I feel have put me in position at this time to become a head coach. As an offensive coordinator, you have a chance to lead, to make tough decisions, to deal with scrutiny. But this will be a different scale for sure. Ultimately, the program's under my hands as opposed to just the offense. But I feel like, the last 12 years as coordinator, both at NDSU and Wyoming, have set me up for this. And there's no roadmap. There's probably gonna be a few quick calls down to Coach Bohl at Laramie about a question here and there, but I couldn't have learned under a better mentor. And he's allowed me opportunities to have real responsibility, and that responsibility is growing in our time together. And it's time to certainly forge my own identity, but the impact that he's had on who I will be as a head coach is obviously tremendous.
Thank you.
John Miller, you're up next. Go ahead.
Hey, Coach. John Miller with KBZK. Coach, when are you going to start diving into the roster, and when are you even going to start diving in and talking to 2021 recruits that are already committed?
Well, it's already began. We had a team meeting yesterday, and a lot of eager guys to come up and shake my hand with masks on. So my names and faces is coming along. I was down in the weight room this morning, and had a chance to kind of see them in smaller groups from a little bit different perspective. And that process is ongoing. I think getting around those guys, giving them a sense of where we're going is the number one job. It's been a challenging, like I've said, that's been a challenging 11 months. It's been a challenging past 2 weeks plus for them. They need direction, they need stability. And, that's what I aim to do. Next week, getting with all of them from an individual perspective is something the next couple of weeks that I want to do, get to know them as people, where they come from, their family, their major, what they like about Bozeman, what brought them here, all those types of things. I need to learn in short order. Plan on getting on a collective Zoom with the 2021 recruits here the next couple of days and to begin that process with them as well. Because getting connected with our players is that's the beginning point. That's the foundation. They're in a good place with all they've dealt with, but we need to certainly shift gears now.
Thanks, Coach, and welcome to Bozeman.
All right, appreciate it.
Colton Poole, you're up next. I don't know if you want to sing the NDSU fight song or what, but go ahead.
Hey, Brent, Colton Poole from Bozeman Chronicle. Nice to talk to you. You talked about Coach Choate going to Boise State and kind of how this job was on your radar. Obviously Coach Choate was well liked here and had success against the Grizz, which is obviously a big priority here. I'm curious, do you see this as kind of a big shoes to fill situation, or is there any sort of pressure in your mind, or is that even on your mind at all?
Well, I think the first thing that I've clearly recognized, this is a great situation I'm stepping into. He did a tremendous job, obviously leading the team, but then also creating a real buzz around Bobcat football. And I'm a different person than Coach Choate, but I think we see things very much the same. We had a phone conversation last night, and I said the one thing that makes this a lot easier is I think the way he sees the game of football, the way it should be played, the way you win football games is very much the same. Now, he's a defensive-minded guy. I'm an offensive-minded guy, so maybe where we come at it was from two different angles, but just generally, I think the real general principles of how to win football games and how to run a program, we're very much in line with. So, it's more an admiration for what he was able to do here. I know his son's on the football team, so now he's a concerned parent. But I think he'll be there to, for any questions that I have, and by no means don't want to tell me what to do, but if I have questions about it, he's going to be a resource. And I think, I'm glad that the expectations are high here at Montana State. Quite frankly, I don't think I would want to be here if they weren't. With expectations comes opportunity, and that's the opportunity we certainly have to work towards filling those expectations. But I wouldn't want that any other way.
Let's go next to Sean Rainey. Go ahead, Sean.
Hey, Coach. I'm the sports director with SWX. You talked about wanting to kind of forge your identity as a head coach. Like, what do you want that identity to be? And then maybe some coaching philosophies that you kind of hang your hat on.
Well, I think your identity is reflected on how your team looks on Saturdays. So a team that's going to be the more physical, the more disciplined, and we're going to talk a lot about will. When games hang in the balance in the fourth quarter, which team has the greater will. And those are all things that are going to be talked about on a daily basis, because those principles have to be applied to the way you go about your work in the off season, shoot the work in the classroom, your commitment to this team. And that's a year-round deal. So I think that's where my philosophy forged. And I think from from an offensive defense perspective, we want to play complementary football. We want to have an offense that complements the defense and vice versa. So the things that are important there are certainly turnover margin, third down differential, red zone touchdown differential, hidden yardage in the special teams game. I think is all leads to, ultimately leads to points and lack of points given up, yards, the same thing. So, whatever drives us on a particular week to put us in the best position to win a football game is what we're going to be about. And that's just not a Saturday proposition. That's a year-round mentality that we have to have.
Thanks, Coach. And I spoke with Mike Petrino yesterday. He says, welcome to Montana. So,
all right.
Let's go to Eddie Messel. Go ahead, Eddie.
How you doing, Coach? Eddie Messel. I'm a sports reporter for NBC Montana here in Bozeman. First thing I got for you, what excites you most first glance looking at this roster? And for you yourself being an offensive guy, you've been a part of some successful quarterback rooms in the past. How much you think that knowledge and experience can help this quarterback room at MSU?
Well, first thing at a glance, watching the guys run around a little bit and lift some weights today, I think it's a group with great length and athleticism. I think you see an offensive line group that's got great size. I think you see some skill guys that certainly look the part. I've been able to watch a little bit of film from 19. Didn't want to make any real individual assessments. Really wanted to dive into just what Montana State at that time was doing from a schematic perspective on both sides of the ball and really see how that aligned with my thoughts. And more than anything, saw a group of guys that played real hard, so that work ethic piece beyond maybe how they look, it seems like, that's in place. But, those decisions, those observations, I guess, from a personnel perspective are very much at the infant stages. From a quarterback perspective, I've had an opportunity to work with a lot of, great quarterbacks through the years. And it's, certainly from a recruiting perspective, there's one side of it, no one, what will we be looking for at the quarterback position, but then the guys that are here, and then Sean on his way in, it's taking them and putting them in the best position to utilize their talents. All the guys are a little bit different in maybe size and stature and ability, and ultimately, who's going to be able to move the chains the most is who we want to settle on down the road. And I've had a chance to get them in a group and have a conversation with them. That's just the beginning stages. Ultimately our offense will function based on the success at that position. You can make up for inexperience at quarterback and do some different things, but ultimately become a championship level program. You have to play well at that position, and there's a lot that goes into it. So I look forward to working with the guys and see what they can do here in short order, and obviously put together a depth chart and see how those guys are gonna ultimately lead our team come the fall.
Paul Schwedelson's up next. Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, Brent. This is Paul Schwelson from the Bozeman Chronicle. I'm just wondering, how would you describe your approach to this staff and just kind of putting together assistant coaches and maybe how much carryover there may or may not be from previous staff?
Real good question. Beyond the players, putting together that staff is that next step, that next most important piece. And I got first thing to recognize, there's 8 guys that have contributed to the success here, have been part of the plan, have been part of getting, this program to where it's at. So, conversations with those 8 guys, I'm kind of in the middle of that today. And those are real conversations. I told the team that's where we're starting. We obviously have a couple spots open, so there's some flexibility to bring some guys in. There's some flexibility to potentially move some guys around, whatever. But starting there, so there's definitely going to be a level of continuity. I'd like to have the staff formulated into next week. Time is of the essence. Spring ball is right around the corner. So, we'll this thing is going to be a moving target. But like I said, I'd like to have that staff in place next week, and there's certainly going to be continuity. And I think that's really important. And I think that's important to our players, but ultimately I told the guys, trust me, we're going to put together the best staff to put us in a position to, be the very best we can.
Thanks.
All right. I don't see any more hands up. If anybody has a follow-up, this would be the time. And if there's,
I'm going to hop in if that's okay.
go ahead, Alex, and we'll go to Colton next.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Congrats, Coach. My name is Alex Eshelman. I'm with SWX here in Bozeman. And so my question for you is, what sparked your love of football and kind of inspired you to get into coaching and make it a career?
Well, I'm a son of a football coach, a lifelong high school 9-man football coach in the state of North Dakota. So I grew up in a small town and was on the football field, out at the practice field, was a ball boy, all those things that a coach's son is afforded, those opportunities growing up around the team, and just being immersed in it from a young age. I played other sports. I played basketball. I played baseball, but football, and in part because it was a sport he coached, was one I was most involved with. And then having an opportunity to play for my dad in high school, I think those experiences, certainly brought me to athletics, and going on, obviously, to play college football was one thing, but it really goes back to just being around my dad and his teams, and really seeing what coaching, brought to his life. There's the impact that you can make on young men, and ultimately that be the most important thing, is what I could see being the value in my dad's experience all those years. He had a lot of success, won championships, coach of the year, but just the impact that he had on that community and all the players through his program in all the years he coached. I mean, ultimately that's what mattered the most. And, that as I've went through it, we've been real fortunate to have success, but those relationships with all the guys you coached, and, those lifelong bonds that you have is really what it's all about. And if it's not about it, then you're probably doing it for the wrong reasons. So to do that and to continue to climb the ladder and ultimately get to the position to be a head coach at the FCS level at a great program like this, I couldn't ask for, a better life's work, I guess. So, and we're just in the midst of it.
Thanks, Coach. Congrats.
Thanks.
We'll go to Colton Poole next, and then we'll finish with Coulter. Go ahead, Colton.
All right. So now, obviously, I guess hopefully there's a season in 2021 this year, and the first game of the season is going to be at Wyoming. How is that going to be for you to coach against your former team and guys you obviously know really well?
Well, let's call it an interesting twist of fate, right? You got to play who's on your schedule, and those guys kind of joked around with them a little bit on Monday as I said some goodbyes. I certainly want what's best for those guys down there. We had a season this past fall that wasn't everything that we dreamed of. It was a very uneven year for a lot of reasons, like it was for most teams across the country. But I want those guys to, achieve greatness in front of them. Now the counter of that is, I think it's September 4th, I believe. We're going to bring a team down there, and we're going to go down there and compete with the mindset of winning the football game. And I think the knowledge of each other inside and out, that's going to be a dynamic. Coaching against Coach Bohl is certainly going to be a dynamic, but it's going to be about those guys out in the field. And, comes September, our mission is to have a team prepared each week, taking that field with a mindset that they're going to win a football game no matter who they play. And it just so happens to be, my first opportunity as a head coach is going to come at the place I just left and have a great deal of admiration and respect for. So, interesting